Thank you special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's a name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts. Welcome everybody, man, to the official first video of my membership. Appreciate you if you are a member, if you're watching this. Much love, much love. I appreciate you. This video itself is a dedication to Miss Francine Smith, my first membership subscriber. So I just want to thank you. I chose this video because she asked me for this video. She asked me to explain what it felt like or what was my first day like in prison. So as I said, I will be choosing a member each month or each video to pick a topic of what I'm going to talk about. And being that she was the first one to become a member, I chose her. And so I'm going to reminisce and try to tell you about the first day in prison, which was a very, very long time ago. And this is not rehearsed. I'm just sitting down in front of this camera and I'm getting ready trying to think about that day and think about what happened and or how I was feeling or my emotions or what I was going through. So as I'm sitting here thinking about it now, I'm gathering my thoughts, and it's crazy because it was so long ago, man. But I remember I have a good memory for things like that, you know, oddly enough. But I do remember, you know, I was locked up, I was in jail. I was in jail for a minute. I was in the jail for over a year, you know, fighting my cases or whatnot. And I had never been in jail before. So that was a new experience to me. It was crazy. It was something that you had to adapt to, get used to. It was just a world within another world. And by me being in there as long as I was, I adapted, you know, and kind of, you know, got a basic understanding of what was going on, you know, as far as the jail. But I was in there with a lot of dudes that was telling me that had been to prison and was telling me how prison is going to be so much different. It's going to be, you know, 10 times escalated from what is going on here. And what was going on in the jail to me was already crazy, you know. So I was like, oh man. So I was getting prepared mentally, physically. I was working out every day, you know, because I heard it's so much drama, you know, in prison, you know, so, and violence, and I was just, you know, trying to prepare myself for whatever was to come. So I remember after everything was over, the court and all this and all of that, I was, you know, got sentenced or whatnot, and I knew I was going to be in prison for a minute, you know, and didn't know if I would ever get out. Hoped and prayed I would, but it was nothing that was written in stone. So I had already had to shake my mentality to, you know, do whatever it takes whenever it, you know, it calls for it. So that's what I was doing, getting myself mentally prepared for it. So when the day came, they came and got me, man, and I went to receiving. And I went to receiving at a place called Southampton. I wouldn't consider receiving my first day in prison. So I would just tell you that was receiving. It's prison, but it wasn't the prison. It was just already catered and built around being to, you know, get you prepared for prison. So it's called receiving. So I wouldn't consider that my first day. But I left there. That was Southampton. I left there and I went to the wall. Now that's my first day in prison. So that's what I'm going to tell you about. Now I do remember that because it is memorable, you know. I'm young, you know, I just turned 21. Yeah, I had just turned 21. And this is at the time the most notorious prison in Virginia. So when I go, I'm going there. I think it's like 6 of us, you know. So we go, we get off the bus, and you know, it's a big, you know, dreary, dungeon looking building, man. It's like, it's crazy looking. It's like an old scary looking castle. So, you know, then, you know, you got all the stories in your head that you done heard about prison. Then you got even more crazier stories you done heard about this prison. So it's just like a lot of things going on inside of me, you know, and I'm trying to compartmentalize all of it, right? But I'm like, you know, adrenaline just pumping, like, you know, what's coming? How's it going down, you know? So they line us all up, man. They take us in, you know, they get our names and everything, and then they take us in a room individually, and they strip search us, and then they shower us, you know. When we shower, and I'm standing there, you know, buck naked showering in front of like 3-4 officers just standing there just watching me, you know, which was weird to me. You know, I hadn't really experienced that type of stuff yet, so it was weird to me, uncomfortable to say the least. And then they sprinkle some type of like stuff on us. I guess it's supposed to, you know, be a deterrent or cure you from lice or any other type of infection or diseases or whatever you're supposed to have, which was crazy as well. They give us dress, man. They give us clothes or whatnot, and then they give us this big old, like, I remember this big green like army sack, like what you might see an army person carry, and they put all of the stuff that we're supposed to have in there, like, you know, sheets, pillowcases, 3 sets of underwear, socks, t-shirts, etc., 3 pair of pants, 3 shirts, you know, 3 of everything. And then they line us all up, man, and take us to the kitchen, give us something to eat. As expected, the food was horrible. Horrible, you know, but it's all you had, so you eat it or starve. After we ate, they told us they was taking us to our assigned cells. Right now, at the time, the wall, which was called, original name is 500 Spring Street, it was all single cell, you know, because it was a ultra-violent institution, you know, so they didn't even house inmates together. You had your own cell. There was a lot of killing going on in there on the inside of the prison. A lot of killing going on in there. So it was super dangerous. So like I said, my adrenaline is already like, wow. And this be the first prison I go to, you know, wow. I'm like, this is crazy, but, you know, it is what it is, and this is what I had to deal with. So, I remember we was walking through, and they gave us, I found that so strange, and I look back on that years later, and I used to talk about it to people. I found that so strange too, man. You know, I'm 21 years old, it's the first time I'm going to prison, you know, and I don't know what the situation for the other cats was. A lot of them was young as well. One dude, he ended up being in Southampton with me. He went there with me to the wall as well. When we left the wall, we went to Augusta as well. We just went, we was, you know, paired up everywhere we went, and we ended up being super cool friends, man. Through a lot of situations, man. Even later on down the line, which I may tell the story another time about Tony. Dude name was Tony, and he was a tall cat, was real good at basketball, and we ended up being cool friends, man. Through a lot of incidents, man. Later on, years later, even through a riot between, you know, his city and my city, and, you know, it was just super crazy, but we still remain friends. And unfortunately, he got out years before I did, and ended up losing his life in like a horrible car crash, man. With had some of his family members involved and everything, which, like I say, is a story within itself. But it was crazy. So you know, God bless his soul, rest his soul to Tony, man. But that was the only cat I knew that was on the trip with us, with the like 5 or 6 of us that was going there. So I remember them ushering us in on the bottom floor of this, you know, legendary prison. And we were walking in, and I remember looking up, man, and seeing all the cells and all the hoopla and the guys hollering and screaming and making noise as we come in. They all locked in, and this is an old prison, so this is the bars at your door. Not no whole solid door, it's the bars like you see in movies. So they can just see you and holler at you. Everybody's hollering and yelling like we coming in, and it's like you see in the movies, that new stuff. they like even whistling like the, you know, the crazy whistle, like people whistle to the women, like stuff like that, man. So I remember, you know, just turning blood mad and warm, like I know ain't nobody whistling at me, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, so I'm trying to look as just as mean and hard as I could possibly look, because that's how I felt. But I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to know nobody. I didn't want nobody approaching me. I had like a zero tolerance for anything type of attitude, you know. I was coming in, I was gonna let them know I ain't the one. Whatever it is, don't bring it to me, you know, because I'm dead serious, you know, because that's just how I felt. But yeah, it was just screaming and yelling as we came in, and they started assigning us to ourselves. And man, just as luck would have it, man, it's like 4 floors, and the 4th tier is like super high. And in case y'all don't know, that's one of my phobias, man. It's heights, man. I hate high heights. I hate snakes, and I hate funerals. You know, I hate death. So those are some of my phobias, man. So man, they put me on the top tier, man. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to be up here, you know. And then I looked down and looked over as we go into my cell, and it was just so far dropped, so deep, and the tiers were so small. It's like, man, it's like I could stand with my back against the wall to my cell and reach out and touch the bars, and that's the drop. You know, that's how close the tier, the small or narrow the tier was. So I'm up here on this 4th floor in a prison, 21 years old, don't know nothing about prison. They ain't gave me no rules, no regulations, no what else, nothing. I don't know anything, you know. And they just take me to my cell and said my name and say, this your cell, boom, put me in. I remember I was in cell 421. They put me in the cell, locked the door, told me they'd see me at lunchtime, and left. So the cell was like, man, I don't know, probably the size of your bathroom at home. And it was just filthy and nasty, and you know, steel bed, and it was just a horrible situation. So I'm in there, man, and my mental is like, wow, you know, is this what my life is gonna be like, or is this even life? Is this even worth going through? You know, those are the things that's running through my mind. And you heard all the chaos and the screaming and yelling and people like, you know, hey man, you said that, and it's just all over, man. It's like no peace. And lo and behold, it ended up being like that all the time. I'm talking about, if you can't stand noise, you would never sleep in prison, because this noise goes on throughout the night. 3, 4, 5 in the morning, you can wake up, people still yelling and screaming through the bars. Hey, what you doing down there? What you all day? So if you can't stand noise, you'll never sleep in prison, you know. So yeah, so I remember that, man, the day, man, and I just my adrenaline was pumping. I was depressed. I was feeling like, you know, this is my life now. This is what my life has been reduced to. So this is how I'm gonna have to live. So that just was a horrible feeling within itself. I remember people, they let us out, you know, or let the doors open after like lunchtime or whatever. They let us out. So the doors open and everybody is out here roaming around and moving around, and it's like, oh man, this is just like, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy to me. I'm just looking at it. In my mind's eye right now, I'm thinking about this as I'm reminiscing. It just was a crazy scene for you to be out there. You got maybe 100, 150 dudes, man, moving around, and you don't know who's who. You got killers in here, you got drug dealers in here, you got everything you could possibly think of in here. And some of these cats ain't gonna never go home, so they don't care one iota about you or your life. And everybody who's new is like a semi-target for whatever type of larceny, whatever type of con, whatever type of, you know, anything that's going on. So I'm just on high alert, my head on a swivel. I'm not trying to talk, I'm not trying to conversate, I'm not trying to be friends with nobody. And you know, that's just the mindset that I had. So I walked around looking crazy, you know, mean mugging and whatnot, and just try to watch my surroundings and see what was going on few people tried to talk to me. I was standoffish, like, look, I'm cool. You know, I ain't got no conversation right now. You know, that was my attitude. So I was trying to portray that and let that be known. I ain't here to make no friends with nobody. You know, so that was how I walked around the rest of that day. But I just remember just being at high alert, man. And I saw, even the first day, man, I saw a little couple of altercations, man. The dudes ended up breaking up, but it wasn't long after that I ended up seeing a murderer. You know, I think I went in there for a couple of days. Within the first week, I did, you know, see somebody like getting killed or got stabbed like to death in there, man. So it was just like crazy. But I just remember, like I say, that first day, man, just trying to get my mind in order to process the fact that, man, you're going to be here a long time. This is how you're going to have to live. So I was trying to absorb everything in that day of how they move in here, how they operate, how things work, to say to myself, to try to mentally prepare myself to say, can I do this day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out? And that's a question you got to ask yourself when you're in those situations. You literally got to ask yourself, can you do this? And you got to mentally prepare yourself to say, yes, I have to, because I have no choice. You know, the only alternative is death, you know. And no one wants to die, no matter what they say, and no matter how drastic their situation is. I don't think no one wants to die, because if you did, you wouldn't be living, because, you know, it's easy to get rid of yourself. But, you know, like I said, I had to mentally prepare myself, man, and it was an experience, man. I think, you know, God made it out to be the way it needed to be, because had I went anywhere else besides there, maybe I would have got a false representation of what prison really was like. And that may have cost me in the long run when I went to another prison, thinking that this is what the county is, this is how they work, this is how it operate. I may have been, you know, lackadaisical or you know, not as on point as I was from my experience with the wall. Because trust me when I tell you, once you be in there and you seeing people getting killed, you seeing people getting manhandled, you seeing people getting raped and beaten, you already know what you in for. You know what prison is. You know what it can be. Even if the next prison you go to is not like that, you know this is how it can be. So your mentality has already been set about what prison is and how you got to live. You know, so that was my situation, man. That first day was an eye-opener, man. And I think, like I say, God made it that way. And I was nervous that whole day, man. I was nervous that whole day because I didn't know if somebody was just gonna come at me with some BS, you know. But I did know if they did come, they weren't gonna be happy, you know. They weren't gonna be happy, man. And I'm not saying I'm invincible, but at probably at 21, you probably feel like you are, but in reality, you're not. But I do know, you know, like I say, if somebody would have tried to kill me or try to hurt me or whatever, even if they would have succeeded, they was coming with me. They was coming with me, because I was gonna bring them with me, you know. So it was gonna be a two-seater in that ride to heaven or hell. We was going together. So that's just my mentality that I had. I was gonna fight to the end, you know. But you know, like I said, thank God that didn't happen. You know, I ended up down the line, did have a little few you know, problems before I left there, but I handled it the way I was supposed to handle it, you know. But that first day, man, it was crazy, man. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't even get my mind right to lay down in that small cell and be, you know, felt like you was just so exposed. You know, it's the cell doors are bars. So, you know, dudes can throw stuff in there, dudes can poke you with something. The cells was just that small, and the access to get to you was just that easy. So yeah, that was a crazy experience, man. But it set the tone for what was to come, and what was to come was total, complete madness for 3 decades, you know. So yeah, so I needed it. It was crazy and it was horrible, but it was needed, you know, to set my mind right for what was ahead of me. You know, so like I say, God worked things out the way they're supposed to be worked out. You may not see it when it's being worked out. You may not understand it. You may feel like I felt horrible, you know. and helpless, you know. But it was designed to be that way, because had I went in prison with what I was facing and the things that I end up seeing and experiencing and going through, I wouldn't not have been mentally prepared for those situations, nor physically. Because once I seen the things that I seen in the wall and 500 Spring Street, I worked out every day hard, religiously. I try to make myself as physically strong as I could be, as mentally strong as I could be, and as disciplined as I could be, because I didn't want to fall victim to nobody or nothing. So I just had to prepare myself for whatever may occur, and that's what I did. So like I say, that institution was necessary. You know, that experience was necessary. So yeah, I think I stayed up till probably about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, because I didn't even want to go to sleep. I didn't even want to believe my own reality was where I was, you know. And I seen roaches and spiders and big rats. When I say big rats, I mean big rats. And I'm like, oh man. And like I say, the food was horrible. The situation was horrible. It was crazy, man. But, you know, God is good, man. And I'm here now telling y'all about it, you know, 3 decades later, man. So I survived by the grace of God. And, you know, shout out and prayers to everyone who's going through that right now. And to their family who have to experience that. And you got somebody that's locked up, man. You know, no matter what they did, no matter, you know, what their situation is, they still your family, they still somebody you love, they still somebody who you care about. And trust me when I tell you, they need you right now more than anything. So show them some love and some support, man. You know, just because they are, you know, human beings, and they are your human being. They are your family, your loved ones. So just keep that in mind, man, when you dealing with someone that's locked up, especially someone who's facing years or decades in prison. They need that home love to mentally prepare them to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it, I'm going to survive. So give them that, man, if you got somebody that's locked up. Even if it's just a friend, you know, show them some love, man. I answer phone calls from prison every day. I've been out here for 1 year and a month. I answer phone calls from prison every day because I know why they call it, and I know they need to hear somebody who cares about what they're going through. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, but that was my first day in prison. You know, Francine Smith, I hope you understand. I hope you got some of your questions answered. But that was my experience to the best of my recollection right now. And you know how my brain works, something else may come up later, and you know, maybe we'll talk about it or we'll revisit this situation. But as of right now, that's my experiences that I can remember from my first day inside a prison, especially a major prison, not receiving, not the jail, but prison. So hopefully y'all got something out of that. Hopefully y'all understand it. You know, prison is definitely a serious situation. I know for a lot of people that's out and they ain't never been in, they just heard prison. Yeah, it's not a game. It's not a game at all. And if you got some young people in your life or some young men around you, you need to let them know whatever you doing out here and whatever you think is cool, however gangster you think you are, ain't none of that gonna matter up in there. None of it. I don't care what you do out here. I don't care how gangster you think you are. I don't care what type of guns you walk around with out here. I don't care how many people you done shot up, killed, or whatever. When you get in there, you just another brother that's gonna have to prove himself. Period. Every day. Every day. So keep that in mind while you're doing what you're doing. And you're gonna be separated from everything you love. Everything that matters to you. Everything that means anything. And you still gonna have to be on point every day and focus. Because if you're not, you're gonna lose your life. So if that's what's ahead of you and you still willing to be out here acting like a fool, you know, more power to you, brother. More power to you. Better than me. Because if I can go back in time, I make a whole lot of different decisions. You can believe that. Because it wasn't nothing cool about doing those 33 years in prison. Not a thing, bro. Nothing. So keep that in mind, man. And like I say, man, each one teach one, man. You know. So y'all be safe out there, man. Be smart, man. Make good decisions, man. Love your people, man. And keep on supporting me, and I'm going to keep on supporting y'all, man. I can't do it without you. To all my members, all 3 of y'all, my heart goes out to you, and I appreciate you. Till the next time, I'll see you soon.
The Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's a name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.